You're listening to Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. Our show provides listeners with an insider perspective of Texas A&M athletics and its greatest supporters. This podcast will bring you exclusive interviews with coaches, athletes, donors, and the dedicated staff of Aggie Athletics and the 12th Man Foundation. You ready? Let's dive into today's episode. Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. I'm your host, Ivy Robinson, and today I am sitting in studio with Texas A&M Baseball student athlete Wyatt Henseler. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, Wyatt.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me. Been looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay. To start this episode, I've got to know, fun question for you. If you could trade walk-up songs with anyone on the team this season, who would it be and why?
Definitely not Jace. I'm not a big fan of Jace's. He's always changing it, looking for one that has hits. So it's hard for me to even, choose his. I know the crowd sometimes likes it. Hayden's is really good. Probably go with Hayden just because it's funny, and I think the walk-up song is all about having a funny thing that gets the crowd. And with Ben Roy's got the swag surf going on, so I'm a big fan of that as well. So any of those sound like good ones to me.
Okay, yeah. So some Careless Whisper.
Yeah.
So how did you pick your walk-up song for the season? Because I know it's the Home Depot.
Yeah, I got the Home
song,
Depot
right?
beat. I didn't know what to do early in the year. I wanted to do something funny, and I'm not that funny of a person. So my roommate happens to be Hayden, and we were sitting in the line for Chick-fil-A after a college football game. Like, we were watching on the couch, and we headed over to Chick-fil-A, and Hallie Hutchins kept texting me and him like, hey, you guys need to get your walk-up songs in.
Yeah,
He's obviously got his covered. And we heard a commercial for Home Depot or something, or he thought of it. I don't remember how exactly it went down, but it was his idea. I've stuck with it. I think it's kind of funny.
That's
I don't really know.
That's awesome.
Some people like the walk-up songs that like really speaks to them or something. I don't have some like spiritual reason for why. I'm just like, I want to get the crowd into it a little bit. So if they like it, then it's a win for me.
I think it's unique. I think it's great. All right, Wyatt, what's a unique fact about yourself that you think not many people know?
That's such a good question because I feel like I'm such a black and white person. Like, I feel like it's just what you see is what you get. So I'm not sure there's too much to me there. I love to golf. That's like my only hobby. But I think a lot of my teammates would probably say that too. I'm terrible at video games. I've tried to get into them with spare time, but I get ripped for it a lot in the locker room just because I'm really bad and I try to play with everyone.
Oh, man.
So I think those are the two little hobbies about me. I'm terrible at video games. I'm pretty decent at golf. So
What's your favorite course you've ever played, golf?
I played at Duke this past summer, and I really liked it. The North Carolina trees, the pine trees, and nice grass and everything. And my old teammate from Penn, his dad was on the PGA Tour and is a golf coach there, so I got to learn from him and play with him for a little bit, and it was really fun.
Super neat.
Yeah.
Okay, this leads into my next question. This is perfect. So you are a graduate of the University of Penn. Can you tell our listeners, let's just start with your background. Tell us about your hometown, your upbringing, your family. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I have two younger brothers. One's in the military, one attends Messiah University. It's a Christian private school in Pennsylvania. We're within 4 years of each other, me and the youngest. So it was a very loud, aggressive, athletic, active upbringing, I think. My parents were really young when they had us. They were 24 and 23 when they had me. So it was just a very busy, I'd say, upbringing. We're always playing sports, playing outdoors. We have a half court in our backyard, playing basketball, river in our backyard. It was always very active. That's probably why I'm not very good at video games, is because my parents really pushed us to be outdoors and and active and social. And yeah, growing up, once I got to high school, there was a conversation, with college around the corner, how are you going to get to college? How are you going to pay for some of it? You're going to have some skin in the game.
Right.
This is your decision. You have the freedom to choose what you're going to do. For me, I really loved baseball. And I was like, okay, I'm going to work really hard to get a baseball scholarship. So my first goal was to do that and use sports to get the best degree possible. So baseball was able to get me an Ivy League degree, and I never thought that's what I was going to do with it. But I'm starting to see some of the benefits of what that looked like, just developing me as a person, and just the long-term benefits of the network there, and just the job opportunities you get, the mentoring I've gotten, and all that sorts of stuff. So that's a quick little refresher, I think.
What'd you get your degree in?
I did political science. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it. The courses were really tough, choosing that with balancing your athletic schedule. By no means did I have the grades to get into a school like that without sports. I'm going to be very honest there. Not to say I didn't work very hard and take advantage of every opportunity I had to use tutors and all that. But yeah, some of the course loads were really tough. I was originally doing philosophy, politics, and economics, which is a 3-part major for just students that don't really know what they want to do after college. And that was just a little too much for me. So kind of slimmed down to political science and do that with some baseball.
I'm sure balancing that with the schedule of baseball was quite a challenge. Yeah,
it was busy, but I'm at my best when I'm busy, when my mind's occupied and I have goals set. So I think going to that school and being in the city, being busy, just the relationships I built. It was the best decision I ever made, was going there. This might be like the second best one. No offense to Aggieland, but that was my first home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you said earlier about the scholarship, how it was a pathway into Penn and to getting an Ivy League education reminds me a lot of Coach Elko, his story. We had him on the podcast as well, and he said a very similar thing was, no offense to my academics, but football gave me the opportunity to attend Penn, and he was very grateful for the opportunity. But have you talked to Coach Elko at all about
a little
that?
bit over Twitter with our Penn and Columbia thing going on with me and Shot. But no, I haven't had the chance to meet him. We're familiar with each other. Me and my old teammate here last year, Jackson Appel, we both obviously were at Penn and made our way here. He has a similar story. So I'm sure he'd echo a lot of the same things I'm saying. Just the ability for Penn to develop you in so many different ways, from a student to a person to an athlete. It just makes you grow up faster. And I think it really turns you into a really good adult that, has your priorities set.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So tell us about the journey to Texas A&M, why you transferred here, why you wanted to come. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I wanted to stay in college. I think in this new age of college sports, it just became more reasonable. My goal was always to stay in college as long as possible and just chase winning as much as possible. I think professional sports are something that we all, dream of and chase. And not to say that I didn't, but I just feel like college sports are more tailored to me and what I want. And not to say you're not going to get everything you want, but the stars really aligned this time around with where college sports are at and finances and opportunities, and just SEC baseball being like the most competitive it's ever been. I just felt like it really set me up for a great opportunity and a great experience, and that's exactly what it's been. Doesn't mean there hasn't been tough times, but I wanted to come to Texas A&M first off just because I feel like the right people were here, not just in our baseball locker room and our coaches and all that, but just the environment here of people that have been so welcoming. And I've always made decisions based off surrounding yourself with the right people, and when that's in place, I think you're in a really good spot to be successful. So that was a major decision, and the second was just to have the chance to play in Omaha and win a national championship. And I said it right before I came here, I think this is just a great community that's committed to winning, and just wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah. What were your first impressions of Aggieland when you came here for the very first time? What did you love about it? What surprised you about College Station?
My first time actually was 3 or 4 years ago. I was playing with Penn, and me and Jackson, we came here and played here. And I think in 22, we won the series. We won 2 out of 3. So that was kind of a memorable moment of just, I could see myself being here kind of. The weather was terrible, and the fans were super into it and super passionate and all here. And I could just see that there was the tradition, the energy here, and just kind of set the foundation for a relationship here. I know the coaches kept an eye on me. I was keeping an eye on them. We can kind of admit that there was a connection there. Never once was there like a physical connection, like a call or anything, but we can joke now that like it seems like we were always paying attention to what each other were doing. And once I eventually made it here, it just seemed like everything I expected and hoped would happen happened. And like I said, just a great group of people, wherever you find yourself here in College Station.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it got the little spark of interest, when you came here.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, feels like my first taste of college baseball started here as an opponent, and it's where it's going to end. So it's pretty cool.
That's a neat perspective. Yeah. Okay, so tell us how you balance the demands of being both a student and an athlete here now that you're getting your grad degree at Texas A&M.
It's good. It's super supportive. I think the resources are incredible. I like to think that we had great academic support at Penn, and we did. But I think this is just another level of comfort that just seems like there isn't a box that's missed, especially like in the new Sin Center here and everything, and with Clark Nutrition. And I just think they do a great job of balancing our schedule and really helping us so that we don't feel like we're drawn in so many places. They make it very seamless in terms of support. Our academic advisor, Mindy, is great about checking in on our schedule, making sure we're not missing things. One of the hardest things I struggled with at Penn was course scheduling, and that's been far from a problem here. And I don't mean to keep comparing it to, my old institution or anything, but it's easy for me to see how efficient Texas A&M is at supporting us. And yeah, Mindy and all the support have been awesome. And I feel like I never had a chance to miss an opportunity to get better and to make sure my classes were in check.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, Texas A&M and Texas A&M athletics specifically, we're known for world-class facilities and elite programs and resources that set our student athletes up for success. And many of our listeners on this podcast are the very individuals who give back because they want Texas A&M student athletes to have the very best. And so what would you say to them in terms of how grateful you are for being able to utilize those resources here?
Yeah, just gratitude. Like I said, there's not a single box that's unchecked. It just seems there's such a commitment to excellence and to continuing the Aggie tradition of just generosity, of selfless service and all that. So yeah, I'm super grateful. I think one of the biggest things I'm grateful for is this building. It's so helpful in terms of if I need a study break, if I need a place to do my homework. I have a project coming up, I can meet people here. Clark Nutrition is unbelievable at availability, awesome food. And the same thing with Bluebell. I think there's just such a commitment. You can see with the new project coming up, there's such a commitment to exceeding and to going, moving forward in every step. So yeah, I'm just super grateful to be a part of it and the generosity that's been shown to me.
Yeah. What's your favorite meal at Clark?
I love the steak nights. I'm a big steak guy.
Several student athletes have said steak night.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, they've done everything. I mean, they've done sushi. There's like a make your own sushi night they did once. Like, it just seems like there's just never a meal that's not covered. If you ask for it, you get it. And that's pretty cool. I don't think that's normal, but I'm going to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm curious, who is Wyatt Henseler outside of baseball? How would you describe
Yeah,
yourself?
like I said, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get. I don't think there's a difference between me on the field versus off the field too much. I'm super competitive, don't get me wrong, but if you watch me on the field, I'm pretty much just talking to everyone. I'm talking to the opponents, I'm talking to the umpires. I'm just a super loose person. What you see is what you get. You know, if you see me on air here, how I'm talking right now is exactly how I was talking to you guys right before I hopped on the mic. So I know that's a really boring answer, but that's pretty much what it is.
That means transparent and genuine. That's a great thing.
I try to be.
I actually read in an article on My Aggie Nation that you have a specific dugout spot that you like to stand in during the games.
Yeah. So someone asked me about this last week, and I've never really been asked about it. And now that I'm aware of it, it's like sometimes I'm not in that spot now. For as long as I've been a baseball player, if I'm in the dugout and, other guys are hitting, it's not my turn to get up to bat. I've always stood as close as I can to where we're walking out, where the coaches are. I think just being a student of the game and just being very active and trying to really watch and not take a moment off. So I happen to always be standing right behind Mike. And that's probably why you see my buzzed bald head just, floating behind Mike all the time. Coach Early, that is. Sorry. Yeah, I don't really I have a reason for it, but it's just so natural for me at this point. Like, I just want to be involved in the game, and something I was taught at a young age was to be a learner and a student of the game, and that's how you get better. And I think just standing there never gives me a moment off, and I pick up on things that end up helping me when it's my turn. So yeah, it's a complicated answer, I think, but it's just something I've naturally done since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned the buzz bald head.
Yeah.
Whose idea was this?
Obviously. Would you like to guess?
Shot.
Yeah, it was the 12th man. He did it last year when he was in a little bit of an individual slump, I think he said. I think it might have been in like South Carolina, or there was a series where he struggled. He buzzed his head. He ended up hitting like 330 the rest of the year, and it was pretty solid.
So that's how he's rationalizing this.
Baseball players are superstitious. I like to think I'm not that superstitious, but then there's moments where I'm like, if I have a lot of hits with a pair of batting gloves, I keep using it. Like, there's always just something with baseball players because there's so much in the game you can't control. It's like you put your belief in something as dumb as a buzz cut. And yeah, I mean, that was just one of the things we tried early in the season. We started hitting a little better. We had to try some other stuff to, keep getting out of that slump. But the buzz just happened to be one of them.
Nice. Okay. Do you have any pregame routines that you have to walk through before you take the field?
I'm a believer in actual routines, how I go about my warm up to hit, or my routine, like my breath and making sure I'm under control before every pitch, stuff like that. But I don't have a really strict routine of I'm going to eat this before this game, or I'm going to, put this sock on first or anything like that. I think I'm more of a believer that I'm a better competitor than I am a superstitious person. So I think I just put more of my emphasis on taking care of the little things before a game starts, in terms of doing a really good job preparing before every game and making sure I'm crossing off all those boxes. So sometimes when I don't feel like I completed something the way I'd like before a game, it drives me a little crazy. So some people, my teammates, would recognize that, especially me and Jace we take too many swings before a game because we're always nitpicky. So yeah, I don't have a lot of superstitious, I eat a turkey sandwich. We have some guys on the team that like that. But no, I'm just a really process-oriented guy. I'm not creative enough to have some type of crazy plan like that before a game.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't ask this earlier, and I wish I would have, but when was the first time you started playing baseball, and who encouraged you to pursue that specific sport?
My dad and my dad's side of the family are not specifically my dad is not super athletic. My dad's a larger gentleman, though. He's 6'4", so he's bigger. My mom is very small and petite, but she's very athletic. Played basketball and soccer growing up. Super coordinated, always kicked our butts growing up in sports, which is funny. So I think my mom's athletic ability, my dad's love for the Yankees, my grandfather's love for the Yankees kind of pushed my start with it. Apparently the first word I ever said was ball. Someone threw me a ball. So I'm not sure it was a baseball destiny specifically, but there was a form of a ball.
Right.
And yeah, I think when I was 7, my dad was like, "You're not playing T-ball. That's dumb. As soon as you're, at a certain age where you can play coach pitch, you'll start." And then I don't obviously remember that. I have a terrible memory, and I was also 6, but it was probably around 6 or 7 I started coach pitch and just started playing. And I think by the time I was in middle school, that was the only sport I was playing, competitively. Off the field, I was always throwing the football. I was playing basketball. I was, doing all kinds of other sports, but just because I had two younger brothers. But competitively, I was only playing baseball probably when I was 13 or 14. That was all I was playing. I'm such a one-dimensional person. Like, what I'm focused on is, I want to put all my energy into it till I get it. And sometimes that drives me crazy, but baseball was that thing for me growing up.
Yeah, that was your thing, and you poured all your heart and soul
Yep.
into it. So it's great. What is your favorite tradition at Bluebell Park?
The war hymn after the game is awesome after a win. I mean, some of those Friday night games that we've had and like that we've won, especially like the walk-off against South Carolina like a couple weeks ago, like moments like that where you get a huge win, you're celebrating, and then, you hear the song going on and everyone's going crazy in the stands. Like, all that's just super special and something I love doing at other sporting events as well. Like, going to the football games and being a part of the war hymn is awesome. So that's easily my favorite. I love the Ball 5 chant. That's pretty fun too. I don't think we've heard nearly enough of it this year, but it's cool to see the moments where the 12th man really takes over a game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Ball 5, it's classic. I mean, that is one of the most intimidating things.
Like I said,
baseball.
I've been on the wrong side of it before as an opposing team. Like, I wasn't the one pitching necessarily, but some of my friends can speak to that. So
yeah. Speaking of pitching, I think I read too that you pitched a little bit in high school, right?
Yeah, I was actually, I was solid. Wasn't great, but I had some arm problems, so I couldn't keep doing it. But I came into college like as a two-way. I was supposed to be able to pitch and hit, and eventually the pitching glove stopped for me. But I was pretty solid. I think I'd put myself up there as one of the better position player pitchers on our team right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Not to be arrogant, but like I put my name in the ring. I throw a lot of strikes.
Yeah.
Throw decently hard.
I mean, that was going to be my question. Like, do you ever find yourself wanting to get back on the mound
No,
sometimes?
not at all. Not at all. I mean, I watch what they do on a given basis, and I'm like, that looks so boring. Like, just play with your pitch grips and throw around for a little bit and then spend an hour. Like, I'd prefer to just go out there and try to hit the ball over the fence. That sounds a lot more fun.
Okay, I want your perspective on something a little different. I'll change the topic. So let's talk about name, image, and likeness and how that has just taken over college athletics in general. What is your perspective of NIL, and maybe how has it impacted you personally, your student athlete experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, I think the space is definitely a little confused in a sense. The rules and everything are constantly changing. All of college athletics is completely changing. If you asked me 6 years ago, going into, about to go into my freshman year of college, that one, I'd be playing at Texas A&M, one of the best teams in the entire country, one of the best athletic departments in the country, I told you were crazy. If you would have told me second that, you had the opportunity to benefit financially off your name, image, and likeness, I would have told you you're even crazier. It's just crazy to see how much this whole world of college sports has changed in such a short amount of time. But one of the things I've appreciated is how seamless it feels around here. I think this department does an unbelievable job of making it clean and safe for, me as an athlete, and my teammates would say the same things, that I don't feel at all like I'm disadvantaged or at any worry of losing eligibility for breaking some rule. I think the rules are super clear around here and how we go about our business, and the collective here has done a great job with that. Individually, I mean, I don't think I'll ever really truly understand how much it's benefited me. I think I have a completely different story than a lot of people would say, and I think Shot can kind of back me up on some of this. Jackson Appel, the same thing. Like, going to an Ivy League school is really tough in terms of the commitment. Like, you're really investing in yourself at a really young age. I mean, it's a $400,000 degree. I didn't have to pay that full price because your family has to make a lot of money to be able to not get financial aid. But like, I mean, I have over 6 figures in debt, like, as a student. And, with the profession I'm chasing right now as a professional athlete, that's a really hard burden to manage. And one of the things I'm super grateful for, I don't think I'll ever truly see the benefit that I'm getting by coming to Texas A&M in a world of NIL, where I can chase what I love, which is baseball in college, but also have the financial responsibility to have that make sense. So just super grateful for what the collective's done, what donors have done for athletes like myself to give us the opportunity to chase our dreams. And, I'm going to leave Texas A&M with my second degree and be in a way better financial position because of it. So I think that's just speaks volumes to what NIL is capable of.
Man, that is awesome. And to those who are listening to this episode who have invested in Texas Aggies United or have given back to the 12 Man Foundation's annual fund, which supports NIL marketing opportunities for Aggie student athletes, we just thank you so much, because it is just like Wyatt said, it's impacting student athletes' lives. It's changing their trajectory, and it's truly setting them up for the future. So we thank you for that. And if you haven't joined in supporting these efforts, we encourage you to invest in Texas Aggies United, or you can make a gift to the 12th Man Foundation, because your support truly does make a difference. So you mentioned earlier about Penn and how the network you gained at Penn was just phenomenal. Now coming to Texas A&M and adding to that with the Aggie network, what's your perspective of that?
I think it's incredible to think about the opportunities I get with both of those networks. I don't think there's a landscape I'm not able to cover with both of those. I think being in the Northeast with a tremendous institution like Penn, I have a lot of different options there. And then I come into the South and I experience arguably the biggest network in the world along with that. So I think it gives me unlimited opportunities. It's going to jumpstart my professional career. Sports are going to be done one day. Baseball is going to be done for me one day. I'm going to have to seek out a job. And to be able to have 2 degrees from 2 of the best institutions in the world, I mean, I can't think of a better way to jumpstart my pro career in terms of finding a job one day.
Absolutely. And what are those future goals? Like beyond your time at Texas A&M, walk us through where you see yourself headed in this life. I know that's a difficult question.
It's a really difficult question, especially knowing I only have, a couple months left of college. So I think there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, and I'm trying really hard to be as present as possible. It's easy to think ahead, but this is the best it's going to get. And I know Coach Early talks to us a lot about that, but in terms of amenities and fun, and college is an unforgettable experience from everyone that tells me. Once you leave it, it's not the same anymore. The camaraderie, the love you have for the sport just changes a little bit. So I'm not sure. I think if there's professional opportunities with baseball, I'm sure I'd consider them. I'm not committed one way or another, but I also know that, I want to start a family. I want to have a career. I want to have weekends off where it's just different. I think when I've chased baseball for so long, it's just like, it's hard for me to imagine what I'd do without it. But I think there's a time when, I'm going to feel comfortable stepping away and finding a new opportunity. And that's exactly what we just talked about. It's the beauty of having these 2 networks is that I have opportunities. I have mentors that are helping me along those processes. And I'm not sure exactly the field I'd want to get into. I think there's always a chance I go back and get my MBA and get into the business field and get into managerial stuff. And I'd love to be like a CEO or something one day. Like that sounds really enticing to me. And so something like that. I'm not sure. There's a lot of conversations that'll go into it, but right now I'm focused on trying to continue our season so we can have a great month. It's the best time of year for a baseball player is classes are done. Yep. You're playing postseason baseball. So that's my only goal and my only thought right now.
That's awesome. Staying focused on the present. And finally, to wrap up today, Wyatt, why are you specifically proud to now be an Aggie, wear the maroon and white, and compete and represent this university?
I think just the tradition. It just feels like you're leaving such an impact at a place like this. Just grateful for the relationships I've had, the people that come to our games every day and stay after to sign autographs and stuff like that. I think it's an incredible place to be a part of, and I couldn't have made a better decision coming here.
Wyatt Henseler on Answering the Call podcast. Wyatt, thank you again for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Answering the Call, the official podcast of the 12th Man Foundation. A special shout out to our incredible podcast producer, Megan Hoffman, to 12th Man Productions and Texas A&M Athletics NIL Department. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to every donor and season ticket holder for always answering the call through loyal support of Texas A&M Athletics and our student athletes. We will be back soon with more content. Thanks, and gig 'em.